Kunjokwa Zewada Hosios Katningari Wesa. Danun Danchida Wanuarado ne Sangoyatiso. Ne Wahi Rosa Anyo, Gina Hoda Deato Warrior, Gonto, Gio Wenjane. Egweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Ungwe Supa. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura. Egweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Yetini Saha o Wanja. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura. To. Egweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Gotne Garunyo. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura. Agweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Gunjo Supa. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura.
The Department of Language, Literature and Cultures was formed at Queen's University from the amalgamation of another two departments. However, shortly after that, together with Four Directions, which is the Aboriginal Student Center here at Queen's University in Kingston, it was decided that a minor in Indigenous Studies would also be formed. This minor is housed in the Department of Language, Literature and Cultures, and the ultimate goal is to create a major, but above all, a department, an independent department for Indigenous Studies here at Queen's. The minus is taught by various Indigenous professors and settlers who specialize in indigeneity and who are members of the Queen's University community. The subjects that are taught are various. They can be historical, political, sociological, and we also teach two languages at present in the Department of Language, Literature and Cultures, two Indigenous languages, which are the Mohawk and Inuktitut. We are, however, looking into adding a third language shortly, Ojibwe, that will be taught hopefully in the very near future. One of the more interesting things is the idea of having students experience the land, so of being able to teach courses on the land, on Mohawk territory. And that way the experience of the language would also be a cultural experience, because we firmly believe that we can't really separate the two. Another program here at Queen's is a graduate program, Cultural Studies, which also offers several possibilities of doing graduate work in Indigenous Studies, and it is a mix of both activists and theorists who are committed to bringing forward the discourse on indigeneity in Queen's, at Queen's and in Kingston.
Agweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Odera Supa. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura. Agweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne O Hande Supa. Dano Oji Jesupa. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura. Agweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Onunkwa Supa. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura. Agweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Ojinua Supa. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura. Agweguanska, Antida Wat Wenuni Ning Wat Ningura. Danun Deatinurado ne Gahi Supa. Etot Nil Dumhat Ning Wat Ningura.
Well, our people originally lived in the Mohawk Valley, which is in what's now New York State. So that's my homeland. But we came here after the war. Our people, anyways, they fought with the English and they lost. So when that happened, we also lost our homeland and we had to come here, and we were granted land. So originally we were really strong allies because the military relied on the Mohawk warriors to win battles, to win the war. So we were strong allies. So I think in that time we were treated with a lot of respect because they needed our people. But then after we lost our homelands because they signed the Treaty of Paris, when we came here, we were refugees. We lived in a place called Lachine, Quebec for 7 years before we had land assigned to us. And then we had land granted where the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte live on Tyendinaga, as well as there's a grant of land that's called the Haldeman Tract along the Grand River as well. And a group of all of the 6 nations live there, the Mohawks, Oneidas, Onondagas, Cayugas, and Senecas, and Tuscaroras. There were already settlements of Mohawk people near Montreal at the community of Ganawage and various other places, but as time passed and as more and more settler people came and wanted land to live and settle and develop, our pieces of land got smaller and smaller and our relationship deteriorated. So this is my opinion, and as I recall it anyway, even though we're still talked about as allies, we're not treated as equals and not treated with the same respect as we were in the past. So the whole process of colonization and the assimilation policies and everything leading up to the current century, where we've had to endure things like the residential schools and all the atrocities there, it's made all of our people, Mohawks included, be on a very different relational situation with settler people who ended up becoming the dominant society and community and the dominant political bodies, and they became the governing bodies, and so over the country, and so that diminished, I think, our ability to. It's a struggle for us to be who we are now inside of that reality.
Agwegwanska, Andida what wet nuni name, what ninguro, the Nudiet in Urado name, Joe Hakwa, I told you to hot name, what ninguro. Agwegwanska, Andida what wet nuni name, what ninguro, and the Nudiet in Urado name, Gondirio, I told you to hot name, what ninguro. Agwegwanska, Andida what wet nuni name, what ninguro, and the Nudiet in Urado name, Gorunda so on the no ogre so on. I told you to hot name, what ninguro. Agwegwanska, Andida what wet nuni name, what ninguro, and the Nudiet in Urado name, Oji dan ogu I told you to hot name, what ninguro so.
So today, I think it's still a struggle for our people to be who we're meant to be and who we believe we have the right to be. We believe our sovereignty is inherent. Our right to be who we are and to live our life according to our own laws, customs, and traditions comes from the Creator and not a government that says it's okay for us to do that. The issue is that we believe that and others don't. So that's part of the tension and the struggle. But part of the tension and struggle is also within our own communities, because not all of our people in our communities think that way either. All of our communities are split now. We have sectors in our community who follow traditional governance practices and live according to the Great Law of Peace and follow the teachings of the Longhouse. And then we have other sectors in our community who, after the implementation of the Indian Act, have instituted elected band councils, which are basically mandated by the Government of Canada, and they have a whole different relationship with the government, and they're the ones that are recognized by the Canadian government as the governing body for all of the people in the community. So there's a friction or a tension between those two groups of people as well, and because the elected councils are the ones who are recognized by the government, those are the people who the government negotiates with, and that's the group of people where all of the resources and funding funnel through for programming and services for the whole of the community. Now, the funding is based on a per capita basis, so it also includes the traditional people because it's a head count. They provide funding according to how many people there are. They don't provide funding according to which political party you follow. So the funding is there for everybody in the community to benefit from, but it's managed and reported on and negotiated with the elected band council. The traditional council doesn't support the band council in any way. They don't vote in elections because the Great Law of Peace talks about living inside of the circle of the law and living according to our own ways and laws, and that participation in an outside government takes us out of the circle. So most, not all, but many of the traditional people won't vote in elected council in elections, either for band council in the community or even for provincial or federal elections, because that's outside of the traditional law. So I think in terms of our relationships with settlers, just as regular Canadians, I think our relationships have been improving a little bit. That's me being optimistic. First of all, since Idle No More, which created a greater awareness amongst general Canadians about the real lived experience of Aboriginal people, Mohawks included. And then, most recently with the release of the report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which was the culmination of a 6-year truth commission into the true experience of Aboriginal people during the time of the residential schools. And that report came up with a lot of recommendations as to how to improve relationships between Aboriginal people and Canadians in Canada. And that's a recent thing, so it's in everybody's mind right now. And I'm hoping that that's going to instigate more positive relationships. Here at the university, we've been able, I think, to cultivate really good relationships because we have really strong allies. Those settlers who have become allies, who accept the truth of our history and are working with us to try and make a better future. So we have a lot of educating to do, even at a place like this, but of the general population as well, I think, before people truly understand, if they ever will truly understand, what our true lived experiences are and what the impact of colonization and our whole history has been on our lives. So I'm hopeful that we can make positive change.
Agwe Gonska, Andita Watway Nuni Nangwat Ninguran de Tinurada Negayeri Negawarage at Tot Nildo Hot Nangwat Ninguran To. Agwe Gonska, Andita Watway Nuni Nangwat Ninguran de Tinurada Ne Yuki Sutta Ogun Radi Weres at Tot Nildo Hot Nangwat Ninguran To.
The Four Directions Aboriginal Student Center is a home on the Queen's University campus, and we are an educational space and a home away from home for our Aboriginal students. So we provide supports and programming and just a cup of tea, a listening ear for Aboriginal students. And we also provide educational support to the broader Queens community as well. So we would see non-Indigenous students come in, faculty, staff, and we provide advice, information, knowledge, education, and otherwise support as well to those students and staff. We have bi-weekly feasts. We do a monthly full moon ceremony. We provide a lot of cultural programming throughout the year for our students. And I think that's a way for our students to feel a greater connection with who they are as an Aboriginal person. And a lot of the times our students when they come here, it's the first time that they've actually thought about their Indigenous identity and what that means, who they are, where they come from, what does it mean to be an Indigenous person, and they really start to think about that and explore that, and we help them with that. So we provide through our cultural programming, through our ceremonies. We do a fast twice a year in a sweat lodge ceremony, and moccasin making, beading, those types of things. And we also provide academic support for students. So sometimes students come in and they just need help with an assignment, or they need a tutor in one of their courses. So we're able to assist them with the academic side as well. We have 5 staff here at the center. So we have our director, Jan Hill. We have administrative support. We have a recruitment and outreach person, and so she goes out into communities and high schools to talk about the importance of education, but also to talk about the programs and supports that we have at Queen's. And we also have our academic student success strategist, and myself, I'm the Aboriginal advisor. So between us, we sort of oversee the day-to-day operations of the center. We provide, organize, and provide the programming and social supports for our students, and just sort of be here as a listening ear. If students come in and they're in crisis, or they're stressed about an exam, or they don't have a house for next year, the issues change daily, and so we just are here as a support and a liaison for those students, and just offer them support in whatever that would mean, so that they're successful here at their university.
Agwegwanska, Antida Watway Nuni Nangwat Nigora Danun, De Chita Wanu Waradone, Eji Devachia, Jakaneka, Garakwa. Eto Yuntu Hot Nangwat Nigora To. Agwegwanska, Antida Watway Nuni Nangwat Nigora Danun. De etinura dane yunki suta asa taneka gurakwa etot yundu hot ningwat ningora to. Agwegwanska, Adida wat wet nuni ning wat ningura danon, de yeti nurado ne yoji stok gurunya, jit skornyage, eto nildum hak, ne wat ningura, to. Agwegwanska, Adida wat wet nuni ning wat ningura danon, de chita wa nurado ne sun guaya diso, eto nildum hak, ne wat ningura to. Onato niori, wakaderi wat gweni, onagadi, Doga Otano, Sunge Nigurha, Ize Gene Izawada Sundaram, Tok Nigawanage. Sok Nyawa Dano Ona Giwahe. That means thank you and until we meet again.